What if a camera you can hide in your jacket pocket suddenly shoots like a mini cinema rig? Today, we're breaking down the LX100 III leaks. The new sensor whispers, the Leica-branded zoom, 4K at 120 frames per second, and even rumors of 6K oversampling. I'll walk you through what's believable, what sounds like wishful thinking, and the single feature that would make this camera indispensable for creators who refuse to carry a bag. Stay with me, because the slow motion and heat management details near the end are the ones that actually decide whether this is hype or a real game changer. The LX100 family has always been the compact that behaves like a proper camera. Instead of that tiny 1-inch sensor most compacts use, LX100 models put a larger micro 4/3 sensor in a pocketable body. More sensor area equals more light, cleaner files, and real background separation. That's why photographers love these cameras. Great image quality without the misery of a heavy kit. If Panasonic genuinely updates the internals while keeping the LX100's analog controls, this could be the small camera that people finally stop treating as a compromise. Here's the meat of the rumors. A new micro 4/3 sensor bumped to roughly 20 to 25 megapixels with improved readout, a Leica-branded zoom that stays sharp across the frame, and modern phase detection autofocus lifted from Panasonic's higher-tier bodies. Video rumors are loud. 4K at 120 frames per second for buttery slow motion and possible 6K recording for oversampling and extra latitude in post. Also reported are better heat management and sustained recording capability. Take all that with a grain of salt, but multiple sources repeating similar details is a good sign this is more than wishful thinking. Why would 4K at 120 frames per second matter to you? Because it gives you cinematic slow motion without carrying extra gear. A small camera that nails smooth, color-rich slow motion is huge for run and gun filmmakers, travel creators, and B-camera workflows. If 6K oversampling lands, expect cleaner 4K, less moire, and more room to crop or stabilize in post. The big caveat: internal codecs and recording limits. Leaks promise better thermal design, but until someone runs real-world tests, we won't know if you can actually record long clips at high frame rates without throttling. One of the LX100's strengths has always been how it feels in the hand. Physical aperture ring, dedicated shutter dial, intuitive placement of exposure compensation. Leaks suggest Panasonic will keep that tactile DNA while refining ergonomics in the EVF. That matters. You can have the fanciest specs on paper, but if you lose the camera's analog soul and immediacy, it becomes just another tiny sensor box. If the Leica lens delivers the expected micro contrast and bokeh, the LX100 III will feel like a serious photographic instrument, not a gadget. Timing looks like late 2025 or early 2026, and price rumors sit in premium compact territory, roughly $1,200 to $1,500. Is it for everyone? No. If you need extreme autofocus for sports or full-frame low light for pixel peeping, other systems are better. But if you want a true pocketable creative tool that punches well above its size, especially for travel, street, and lightweight filmmaking, this could be the camera you keep always on. For now, rumors look promising, but wait for hands-on tests before you sell a lens. Drop a comment. Are you more excited about 6K or 4K at 120 frames per second? What if a single feature could make a $5,000 decision painfully simple? Today, we're cutting through the noise around the Panasonic Lumix S1H2 and answering the only question that matters: buy now or wait. I'll break down the one tech nobody's talking about, why thermal design and recording endurance change the game for long shoots, what to expect from autofocus and color, and exactly which type of shooter should pre-order versus hold off. Stick around. The part about Panasonic's platform commitment at the end is the detail that actually seals the decision. Let's start with the headline nobody's treating as a paradigm shift: a full-frame global shutter sensor. This isn't incremental. Global shutter means no rolling shutter artifacts ever. Fast pans, car wheels, handheld motion, all clean. For filmmakers who shoot action, vehicles, or fast camera moves, that alone closes the gap between high-end cinema rigs and a single-body workflow. Combine that with a 16-megapixel readout tuned for fast data throughput, and you get reliable 5.1K at 120 frames per second and 8K at 30 frames per second without the usual data pipeline choke points. In plain terms, motion stays honest, and the sensor can handle future formats without feeling obsolete next year. Here's the second pillar. Panasonic built active thermal management into the S1H2 with a sealed fan system. That's not marketing fluff. It means long, continuous recordings without thermal throttling, weddings, documentaries, event cinema. Imagine recording an hour plus without a forced cooldown. For professionals who have lost shots to overheating, this is the difference between delivering and apologizing. Panasonic is promising extended runtimes and stable performance, which changes the risk profile for buying early. If you do a lot of long-form work, that reliability can be worth thousands. Now the trade-offs. Panasonic's autofocus history is mixed, and while this model promises an upgraded phase hybrid AF with AI subject detection, the real test will be in hectic conditions like dim receptions or run-and-gun documentary moments. Color science, though, is a known strength. V-Log2 and refined color profiles give you organic skin tones and wide latitude. Panasonic claims 16+ stops of dynamic range, which translates to more recoverable detail in highlights and shadows. So even if AF needs a firmware polish, the core image quality and grading latitude are already a solid safety net. Decision time by profile. If you already own the original S1H and it still meets your needs, the upgrade is big, but not revolutionary enough to justify an immediate swap unless you truly need global shutter or the thermal improvements. If you're upgrading from older or crop sensor gear and want cinema-level motion handling, buy it. The S1H2 is a leap into pro workflows and starts paying for itself in job opportunities and finished image quality. Wedding and documentary shooters should pre-order, but keep your current camera as a backup until real-world AF and firmware arrive. That hedge gives you access to the new tool without risking a missed job. Here's the one angle nobody's emphasizing. Panasonic is positioning the S1H2 as a long-term flagship with a 6-year roadmap. That means sustained firmware updates, lens development, and accessory support. Buying this body is buying into a platform, not just a feature set. If you need the specific capabilities now and can use them to grow your business, buy. If you already have a capable S1H, wait and watch for firmware and market responses. Either way, decide from workflow needs, not FOMO. Drop your situation in the comments. I'll tell you which path fits you best. If this helped, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you do not miss in-depth review when the S1H2 hits the streets.